Few Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And John Nemitz.
You're always second, and Matt Hagen.
He's always third. He's always the caboose.
That's what I'm known for in certain parts of the world.
Yes. Where we last left our Few Goldilock Bears, we got some feedback. I actually got some comments on YouTube that I'll repeat. But John, you want to go first?
Yeah. So, a mutual acquaintance of ours, a certain Drew B. I was mentioning this to him, and I explained the concept and said the title, and he's like, that title doesn't actually make sense for what the premise is. Because it's like for true Goldilocks bears, it should be like one thing that's too much of one way, another thing that's too much the other way, and another thing that's perfect. And that is not what we're doing at all.
A rebuttal. You want to hear it?
I would love to hear it.
I'm talking to Drew. Drew, do you want to hear it? We actually, if you notice, the title is not Goldilocks, it's Goldilock. So we're not saying we're that character. We're like, you know what I mean? And we're not the three bears. We're a few bears. So we're not the same as that family, because we're not family. What else, Drew? What else you got? That's all I got.
Well, Drew has been silenced. I can tell he's feeling really shameful right now.
Yeah. Also, out of the last time, both comments were in regards to Rob McElhenney. There was a lot of apologists out there, I want to say, and yeah, but that's fine.
Well, Matt and I certainly did not stick up for him, so good that somebody is.
But didn't you? I mean, you guys, maybe you didn't stick up for him, but you certainly dismissed me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure we dismissed you necessarily. I think we, yeah, we did. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. It's all coming back to me.
But yeah, that's the concept. We're varying tastes, and we got to find common ground. It could be through our loves, hates, or indifferences. So let's do that. Does anyone have a fire inside? They want to begin this thing off. Otherwise, I'll do it again.
Feel free, Vince.
No, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. No, you already told me with that two seconds of silence. I knew I was going to have to go again.
You better make sure you edit that when you get the chance. That 2 seconds is going to drag us down.
Okay, I want to start with an indifference. All right, I'm going to shake it up a little bit. On this planet called Earth, there are things called human beings, and they like to express themselves. They like to move their bodies to noise, preferably rhythmic noise. They call this dancing. They do it to celebrate. They do it mating rituals. Some to honor their ancestors, as my parents would say. Dancing, to me, I get whatever endorphins are supposed to be released when moving your body doesn't happen for me. I take nothing from dancing, even though I've seduced through dancing. You know what I mean? I can do it.
Obviously, yeah.
I can do it, but if all of a sudden the world is like, oh my God, Vince, we can't dance anymore. Aliens took it out, or we're basically all of Footloose Town. It's banned. I'd be perfectly fine.
Is this your hate or is this your indifference?
Indifference, yeah.
Okay. Well, I am not a dancer as well. Occasionally I will dance, and I do get some enjoyment out of it, other people dancing and having fun, but it's a rare occasion. But I guess I see the appeal of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some fun times dancing as well. Typically alcohol was involved. Typically it's like loud kind of techno music kind of stuff that I am most likely to cut a rug for.
We saw like
If-
three aliens observing humans. What is this dancing?
I mean, yeah, if you told me, that nobody could ever dance again, I guess there'd be much bigger losses to my life I could think of. But
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it sounds, you guys both sound borderline indifferent. Matt,
Yeah.
you said you get there's a little bit of joy of seeing people partake, other people enjoy. I don't say count that. I think I'm just saying physically, whatever it is, there's nothing there for me. Like, yeah, it's so weird. And alien, that's how I felt. I remember, I don't know, every single time people were dancing, family, whatever. I'm just like, very like kind of curious puppy, like, huh?
Yeah, I will say, like, all the situations where I've actively danced have been like tech conferences and stuff. So like everyone's, at least as nerdy as I am. So that definitely helped me feel less self-conscious about it.
Love it. Yeah, I don't get how people know dance moves to these songs. Like you go to 100 weddings and there's the certain dances. And did everybody take a class? How did everybody learn these dances? I don't understand that. But
now move to your left. I mean, it says it right in the song.
Oh, this whole time.
John, did you move to your right when you said that? I believe you did. I believe you were like
camera left, camera right.
Yeah.
No, move like, stage left.
I still don't get that. I'm like, Snagglepuss, what are you doing? All right, so yeah, that's my indifference, and I guess that's just me putting myself out there where I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know, I'm not of this world, at least when it comes to dancing. Yeah.
Very vulnerable of you. I like it. I like it.
All right, who's next?
Oh, let me jump in. What should I do? Love, hate. Let me throw out a love right away. I'm going to throw out some love to Taylor Tomlinson and Iliza Shlesinger on Netflix special, stand-up comedians. Shlesinger, that's a tough one. I'm going to stumble over that a couple times. But so basically, I watch a lot of stand-up. I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, I catch quite a few stand-up specials. It's something you can just put on while you're doing other things. Like you don't need to be watching it. It's kind of like listening to a stand-up. So anyway, I catch a lot of these, and recently, the past couple months, I've been kind of uninspired, even with guys like Patton Oswalt and Aziz Ansari and Jim Gaffigan. I've been catching a lot of these, but two female stand-ups really caught my attention. Again, Taylor Tomlinson, Iliza Shlesinger, just confident, polished, observationalists. Just really, really good stuff. I just want to throw out a quick shout out. Everybody should check them out. Even you people that say women aren't funny, these women are funny. Trust me. They bring up a lot of tough subjects, and it's dealt with easy breezy. It's really good stuff. Check it out.
I like that Matt's breaking down the formula already. It's one love, Matt. You're giving us two. And besides, have you thought of John doing the research? He's now going to have to watch two specials, right? Is that what you did, John?
That's what I was going for.
No,
the third episode, I'm going to do 3. So
I did not do the research this time. So, yeah.
I at least looked up a couple of jokes on YouTube, but they were very, oh my gosh, it's extremely racist of me to say, but I'm like, just a couple of white girls, man. They all look alike, Yeah, I shouldn't have said that, but that's how it was. But they were good, though.
That whole argument, women aren't funny, like, I'm going to come off really bad, but I kind of get that. There aren't a lot of female stand-ups. And as a man, you maybe don't relate to them as much. And I think it's maybe just as simple as that. I mean, there's more male-centric material out there. But I mean, you know, you got your Sarah Silvermans, your Nikki Glazers, your whatever. And I like them all. But again, like I said, nobody really wowed me. And these two really, really, really wowed me. And I was very impressed. So score one for the females.
You know, Matt, it's so funny actually that it's female comedians, and you're saying this now. You're like, hey man, girls are funny and stuff like that. One of my first memories of you, like we met in grade school. I remember saying something, and I'm pretty sure I was praising a woman or something like that, right? We're at recess, and I say all this stuff, and then you chime in. You weren't the only person there, but you chime in with like, yeah, but can they pee standing up?
I have never said that in my life. I don't know where that came from.
Oh, denying it years later, huh?
30 years later, yeah.
But I'm like,
Boy.
oh, I'm glad he grew a little bit.
Actually, that's funny. I swear I have 7-year-old twins, soon to be 8, and I swear I've heard something similar to that. I don't know if it was out of their mouths or out of one of their friends' mouths, but it's funny some of the stuff that you pick up on. But I think, you know, that's just one of those dumb things that you hear. And
yeah, I feel like that would be like a joke used in like children's, like a kids movie or something like that,
yes.
or a kids show or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
so that memory came out of nowhere, came out of me talking about that's so funny. I'm trying to think of memories of you from grade school, and
nothing's coming up.
It's all just foggy. To be honest, everything from grade school is foggy. So
no, that's fine. I mean, I have a really crazy memory anyways. Like I could remember back till like I was 2, basically. Yeah.
That is not true. 2? For real?
Yeah. Yeah, because
years
I remember,
old.
Hold on. I'm at 2 decades. No, okay, but the final thing about the women aren't funny thing. Now I heard that as well. You know, if you're a bunch of guys, you're saying it or whatever, right? But to me, I'm like, fucking, what are you talking about? Catherine O'Hara from Schitt's Creek is hilarious. Meryl Streep in Adaptation is hilarious. Are they just saying women aren't funny stand-up comedians? Is that what they're getting at? Because there's plenty of, like, Joan Cusack is so good at what she does. Yeah, I don't know. That's maybe they're just saying you didn't let me finish, Vince. We meant stand-up comedians.
Maybe so. Yeah, I just kind of put it as stand-up comedians. And you know, if I was to list my top 10 comedians of all time, none of them are going to be women. Top 20, yeah, maybe 1 or 2. But yes, if you broaden it to actors, actresses, whatever, yes, there's even more out there. But yeah, just stand-ups, I feel like they're even more scarce.
I don't know, like Tig Notaro, I think is hilarious. I like Maria Bamford a lot.
Bamford, like when she can tone down the crazy a little bit, then she's really good. Sometimes she's just too far out there and random. But yes, I agree.
Who's next?
Oh, cutting it off, huh? I can go.
Again, those 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, clearly we're out of gas here.
Well, I think we're going one after the other, right? Toss out whatever you want.
All right, I'll go with my hate because I think we did Indifferent and a Love already. Mine is the concept of a physical book. I'm a pretty avid reader, and as soon as like e-ink technology was invented, so you can like read on a device that's not a backlit screen, you know, like not like a phone screen, not like a tablet screen, but kind of like reading on paper. I just never want to have to deal with an actual book again. Like they're kind of heavy. If you're like, you know, laying in bed reading, they're only one book. So like if you're holding a book, it's only that book.
What
You
is?
have to carry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say I'm not familiar with the e-ink term. I guess I don't have a device like that. What is that exactly?
So it's basically like kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. So if you think of like if you had an Etch-a-Sketch that could write a page of a book, that's essentially what that technology looks like.
And then do you have to shake it up and then it'll go to the next page, or how does that work?
Yeah, you do. And then you have to like turn the knobs and draw whatever you want.
You actually have to write the book. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
John, it's so funny because I was going in here thinking that because we share at least our loves and hates with each other before we do this. So when John was like physical books, I'm like, it's got to be about the environment. No, not at all. He's like, they're heavy. They're really heavy, guys. Paper cuts.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the many points I was going to get to. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of cut him off at one point, just like I cut him off there. So, yeah, the environment, I definitely agree with that.
Better to have a discussion, but yeah, definitely my convenience number one. Then also the environment. Yeah.
So
also the one I have, you can like, if there's a word you don't know, you can like move a cursor to it and select it and it'll like give you a dictionary definition. I've been reading an actual book and there was like a word I didn't know and I'm just kind of like looking at it like thinking that somehow it's like gonna magically tell me the definition just because I've become so accustomed to that as well.
That's cool. So how are people going to know how learned you are, though, if you don't have shelves full of books around your house? Like, I don't understand that.
That's a good point.
And also, John, have you considered the loss of pop-up books? I mean, I think you're being kind of selfish here.
That is true. There are certain specific books that just work better as like a physical form.
Well, having kids, I mean, it's nice to have a cabinet full of books and the kids can just go grab books, when it's time to read at the end of the night. So kids' books, I definitely think should not disappear. But otherwise, I kind of agree.
John, do they have kids' book? Like, could I ring up Where the Wild Things Are on my little letter ink thing?
You could, but it is monochrome. So you would definitely be losing that aspect. So yeah, definitely kids' books and like heavily color illustrated books is a use case that would suffer.
So this is a very selfish hate of yours. Cucumbers, I'm like, hey, if you just don't like the taste, you don't like the taste. But physical books, you fucking Nazi. You're like, burn all the books.
I didn't even think of that. Burn the
You're
books.
like, John, how many books do you want? You're like, 9 books. All right, I'm done with this. Are we moving on to?
Yeah.
Well, yep, we sure are.
All right. Let me talk about. Hey, you guys were like, "Oh, it took so fucking long last episode." So now I'm just like brutally.
I never said that
at every end. And you didn't.
No, we were like, Vince took too long last episode.
We got to talk about.
I could barely get a word in edgewise for our topics.
Got to talk about Rob McElhenney for 25 minutes.
Oh, thank God. Oh, by the way, I was watching a podcast. This is important by the Workaholics crew, and just coincidentally, they were talking about when they ran into the Sunny cast at like a red carpet event, and they were like, everyone was cool, but Rob, not so much.
Huh.
But speaking of hate, yeah, exactly. Speaking of hate, there was a phrase called really. you know, everyone could say it. Everyone did say it. Everyone laughed. What was worse was that it was like almost like putting a kibosh on the whole argument or whatever, right? They would just be like, oh, really? And everyone would laugh and they'd walk away, making the other person look like they were just dunked on or something like that, right? It wasn't right. And it was around for fucking ever. I think it's gone now. But I remember it felt like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everyone said this thing. It was in movies, commercials, right? It was nuts. And to me, it's like, I consider myself a man capable of cracking a joke or two. So when someone is getting laughs, cheap fucking laughs from everyone in the room by saying really, and then within the same room on the other side of it, someone else says really, and they get laughs, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm still today really kind of on edge about the whole thing. And I think I envision someone who is void of personality, who doesn't want to go outside unless there's something in the lexicon they could use, because they're like, I don't know what to fucking say. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think really if anything, it's more like memes now. You know, people aren't funny. They just know funny memes.
Like what was the time period where this was the most happening?
Maybe 2008, 2010, something like that. I mean, you guys remember this remember it though, right?
I don't really remember it just shutting down a conversation, or you know what I mean? Like
Really? I am aware of really. Does it bother me? And I guess it doesn't bother me. I feel like you're personally attacking me because I think I say really quite often. So is that what you're doing here, Vince? You're attacking me right now?
No, not at all, dude.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
No, I don't actually know. I would lump you in with myself and John. We're like, you know, we can crack a joke. It's those who can't use these things that are an automatic get out of jail free card. They're like, well, I don't know anything about politics. So, you know, I'll be like, really? I don't know. I just...
If you say so.
I feel like...
I don't know about that. Like that kind of stuff?
Bazinga. No. Bazinga. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's just, I don't know. I should have did more research on my own topic, really.
Agreed. Well, really is a word that can be used in many different ways. Like you're just trying to be an active listener, so you say really.
No, not
yeah.
That,
see,
that. All right, go on.
That's what I thought you were going to say too. Is like, because I'm sure that's something I do. Is like, someone tells you a piece of news and you're like, really? Like, no, not really. I just made it up.
No,
I understand from your description how you mean it.
Yeah,
that's just what I thought you were going to say.
I was like, welcome to gaslighting the podcast. Holy shit.
Well, I've had words before that are kind of words that I try to avoid using in my own language, and I would kind of cringe a little bit when I would hear it. Like just words you're trying to cut out, like a word like basically. I don't want to use the word basically to kind of sum things up, or the word interesting. Like interesting is a very uninteresting word. So I thought that's kind of maybe where you were going with that. Or the word the. Don't you think we use the word the too much? Come on. We can cut that out, right?
We should cut out that word. Now I'm like really cautious not to say that.
Interesting.
Next. Moving on.
Let's see. I can go. Let me do an indifferent.
Really?
Really. I just I just randomly saw that the Grammy nominations came out the other day, and I wondered to myself, have I ever cared about the Grammys? Have I ever watched the Grammys? Have I ever looked at the Grammy nominations? I've probably looked at Grammy nominations once upon a time, but I don't care for the Grammys at all. You guys feel free to chime in. We can just have a big discussion here. But I was kind of curious to see if I knew anybody, and I think this is kind of a way for us to see how out of touch we actually are.
Do it.
So like record, okay, get this, record of the year. Did you know ABBA had a comeback? Did you know ABBA?
Really?
ABBA comeback, yes.
Yeah.
For real.
Properly used.
Is the record called Comeback?
Don't Shut Me Down, it's called.
Ah,
But we have Adele, Beyonce, Mary J. Blige. What? Didn't she
Wow.
disappear for like 25 years? She was around in like the mid 90s, wasn't she?
Yeah.
mhm.
Somebody named Doja Cat,
I've heard that name.
Steve Lacy, Kendrick Lamar, Lizzo, Harry Styles. I don't know any of those.
So the first time I heard of Doja Cat, speaking as someone out of touch, I literally thought it was another out of touch person just getting the Doge meme wrong. like just talking about it incorrectly.
Yes. Yes, that seems like it would be a cryptocurrency of some kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Doja Cat. Album of the year, ABBA, Adele, Bad Bunny. I don't know who Bad Bunny is. I know I've heard that name before, though. Coldplay. Do you know Coldplay was still around?
Wow. Good for them. I thought they were out of here. Parachutes. Yellow. Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar, Lizzo. Song of the year. Okay, best new artist. I'm going to try to do it rapid fire, but some of them are kind of hard to pronounce. Anita, Omar Apollo, Domai and JD Beck, Mooney Long, Samara Joy, Lado, Mainskin, Toby in Wigway. Yeah, there you go. Molly Tuttle, Wet Leg. Wet Leg?
Ooh, I've heard of Wet Leg. I think they're like an all-girl punk band or something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be kind of cool.
Okay, is it the Grammys out of all the award shows? You're like, oh, I'm a hardcore Kids' Choice Award fan, but fuck the Grammys. Or what?
Well, going back to my youth, I know I would watch MTV Music Awards or Music Video Awards or whatever it was. And there was the Movie Awards, MTV Movie Awards. So I would check that stuff out. But as far as music award shows, no, never had any interest. I wanted to get to, let's see, rock. Okay. Bryan Adams is still around somehow. Beck, the Black Keys. I didn't know the Black Keys had a new album. Brandy Carlisle. I don't know who that is. Idols. I don't know. All right. Ozzy Osbourne featuring Jeff Beck. Did you know Ozzy Osbourne and Beck teamed up?
No. Wow.
No, could be cool though.
That could be cool. And let's see. Metal performance, Ghost, Megadeth, Muse. Is Muse metal?
I've heard of Ghost.
Turnstile.
Yeah, I was super into Ghost for a while.
Really?
I saw them live once. It was a spectacle. It was fun.
And they've been around for a long, long time, right?
Not as long as you'd think.
Okay.
And I think Muse
Like
just
a decade
turned,
or so, I think.
Okay.
Muse just turned metal. That's all I know. Like they've been like basically Coldplay forever, and then they're just like, we're changing it up. We're metal now, or at least for this album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always known Muse as alt rock, I guess I'd call it, whatever. Rock album, Black Keys, Elvis Costello. Good for him. Idols, Machine Gun Kelly. I do not like Machine Gun Kelly. I have listened to some of his stuff. Ozzy Osbourne, Spoon. Alternative, Arctic Monkeys, like the Arctic Monkeys. Big Thief, Florence and the Machine, new album. Wet Leg. Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs. I feel like I've heard of Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs, but I don't know where. Alternative music album, Arcade Fire, Big Thief, Bjork. Good for her. Wet Leg. Yeah, Yeah, Yeahs. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's the what's that fucking song? Maps.
I don't know if I know it.
I don't know. It's good.
I did listen to the Bjork album from this year.
And
It's okay.
Yeah.
Have to let it simmer.
I
Go
never
back to it later.
got into Bjork. I know I've listened to a number of her, well, a few of her albums, but only once. So, I mean, that's probably somebody you got to listen to many, many times. Get the groove.
is she?
Yeah, I'm a
kind
big
of-
fan of Post. It's probably my favorite album of hers. I think for a lot of people too, probably. But I'd give that one another listen if I were you.
Post. All right.
Is she kind of like Yoko Ono, where she's kind of like doing really weird noises? Well, no.
No, not really. Just kind of cool electronic backing, and then pretty normal singing. I mean, she definitely has a distinct voice and stuff, but she's not like shrieking or anything.
Okay. All right. And she didn't break up the Beatles either. So the comparisons.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Is that all? The Grammys. Oh well,
Yeah.
I think it has to do with whether you're listening to that music that you might give a damn. I think I watched when I think Nelly was up there and the Boss, Bruce Springsteen, stuff like that. Maybe Michelle Branch because I had a little crushy crush. That's about it.
Yeah.
Moving on, right?
Moving on.
All right, I'll do my love, the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness. It's on the border of Minnesota and Canada, and it's this place where you can go camping, and it's just all these lakes, like hundreds of them, all connected together. And no motorized boats are allowed in there. So you basically have to go in with your canoe, and there's trails between the lakes. So, you got your backpack on, you lift the canoe up over your head, you walk to the next lake. So when I've gone for like the last 10 or 12 years or something like that with a group. And we usually go like 3 or 4 or 5 lakes in. So like you sometimes go the entire week and you never see like any other people besides the people in your group. You have to bring all the food in you're going to eat. You just carry it. You bring stuff for like filtering water. You bring a saw in, and if you want firewood, you cut down a dead tree, saw it up. Like it's, I don't know, this super like rustic wilderness place we can go to, but it's like 5 hours away from the Minneapolis, so easy to get to.
John, all I have to say is I blow my nose at nature, and I dump oil in lakes whenever I can. And so I hope you enjoy that while you can, because now that I know where it is, John, it's coming.
Good stuff.
What are you, a copper sulfide mining company?
Whoa, that's a deep dig. Ouch.
Let me recover, Matt. You take it on.
Actually, that sounds very, very peaceful, John. So how long are you out there? Would you say a week camping?
Yeah, usually 1 week.
Oh, so you're hauling around your little pop-up tents and that sort of thing too?
Yeah, so people do it differently. Like we normally just go into a spot and then stay put for the whole week and then head out. Some people like are really hardcore and they tear down camp every morning, move on to a new location, and keep moving around. But we're not that ambitious.
So how big is your group that you usually go with?
So the maximum that you can have with one permit is 9 people. So we've had as many as that, or I think as few as 4 when I've gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It sounds like something I would try someday. So I'm there. I am invited, right? Sounds good. I'm there.
Oh yeah.
I all right. So every time I camp out, in a tent, it rains like literally every fucking time.
Yeah,
And
that
so
happens. Yeah.
yeah, okay, but like I've never had a good experience waking up. Like I'll wake up in a puddle of rain, guys. Yeah, but like I don't know, I've just never enjoyed the morning after. I feel like nature just fucked me and then left.
Nature pissed all over you.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of asking for it, but he didn't
You
clean it up.
Are you sure you're not exaggerating? I mean, how many times have you slept in a tent?
I
Name it.
grew.
Count them.
Okay, let me just say this though. You guys have been to my house. I live in the woods, right? Yeah. So it's like really kind of stupid for me to camp out. But when I do, even if it's like in the yard as a kid, it fucking rains. Now maybe it's up to me to look up the weather. And I really haven't camped since I was a child. So maybe things are good now. Maybe there's been some breakthroughs in camping, but yeah.
And I mean, there are tents that can keep the rain out.
What?
Yeah. So you don't have to wake up in a puddle
What if
of water, of rain.
what if you begin to like it?
And what are you doing here?
All right. Actually, John, for the most part, I do like nature. Like I just was able to get out finally after 2 years of quarantine, and I went kayaking with some friends. First time kayaking, it was really nice, peaceful. I fucking even fell in, but I'm like, I feel alive and shit. So yeah, I think I wanna get a kayak next summer and do some yakking. Going
Yeah.
on.
You can do some mocking when you rest.
Oh, I get that. Yes. But don't wipe your ass with some Pazafin. No. Poison ivy. I did say moving on, and then you All right. Anything else? Are we
Nope.
done? We're not done. Who's next?
No.
You're next.
Oh.
Go.
Oh my god, my love, guys. Okay, so it's just a great way to just squeeze in a little UFC at you guys because that's like my thing. If I could have a whole podcast about it, I would. But I want to talk about what just happened maybe a couple of weeks ago, where the champion Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender, was defeated by Alex Pereira, also known as Hands of Stone. And what's interesting about it is that the champion has been champion for a number of years now, and he's just dominant. But he's also boring. He basically came up with a lot of feints and just being very elusive in the cage. And so he wouldn't be knocking anyone out. He's just kind of point fighting him. He's winning it on the scorecards. So every time this happens, everyone's like, oh, fucking, what about that Alex Pereira guy? The guy who defeated him twice back in kickboxing, one on the scorecards, and the second time by knocking him out. So like, even when Adesanya became champion years ago, the first thing he said is like, now everyone's going to be talking about Alex and like, oh, he was the last guy to defeat me. Right. But that would just build and build until recently. Alex Pereira has been in the UFC not even 3 fights in. That's basically 1 year of fights. And they fast-tracked him to the championship just because of the history between the two. And so when Alex Pereira defeated him for the 3rd time, it's been great. There's memes because they're like, Alex beat him in kickboxing, so Adesanya moved to MMA. So the meme is that he's like, okay, now I'm into golf, and then they show a picture of Alex Pereira with like, dressed up like a caddy, and then like just a couple days ago, Adesanya was pulled over and arrested, some weird mistake. But then the memes was of Alex with, an orange jumpsuit going into prison to follow him into the shower. So I don't know. It's really fascinating. Just that story of just like, this guy is going to beat him wherever he goes, no matter what. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It's my only way to get you guys to like, UFC, you say.
I like I like the backstory to all of that. Yes, it does feel very Shakespearean or something, in a way. I do not pay attention to UFC. Last UFC fight I actually watched would have been a number of years ago, Buffalo Wild Wings with a bunch of people. Remember John Jones, Jim Jones, I think. He did this finishing move, this kick. He kicked the dude in the face and he knocked him out. But the best part was he had Jim Jones had Steven Seagal in his corner. And Steven Seagal afterwards went on this whole thing like, I taught him that move, and it was really, really funny and comical. But fuck Steven Seagal. But no, I don't pay attention to UFC. But I like the story you just told.
John?
Yeah, my coworkers years ago used to be super into UFC, so I tried to get into it a bit, and I just didn't care.
You were like, I keep losing these fights. I'm not into it.
Yeah, I mean, I showed up, I weighed in, and yeah, I don't know.
I agree. I don't care as well. And even if you told that story, you did tell that story, but you told that story so well, and I still don't care, Vince. I don't care.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But like, I will say though that that's the only sport I'm into. I really don't get into sports. I will tolerate it like a fucking girlfriend or wife. I'll watch football, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, go. Who's, like I really, I'm reading the enthusiasm of whoever I'm with. I'm like, yeah. Oh, now we're mad. But I get fighting mostly because, hey man, I fought a couple of times. A lot of people don't like me, so I had to defend myself over the years. So, and I feel like I've had more field time fighting than I did when I was in football in high school. So, UFC.
I heard you've never been in a fight and lost.
Who said that?
Technically, if anything, they were TKOs, so technical knockouts, where the ref is like, I've seen enough. And I'm like, I'm still on my feet. Yeah. Moving on.
Except the ref was your third grade teacher.
She was actually, do you remember Mrs. Bry? She was like outside in the recess.
Yes.
She actually broke up one of my fights with Josh Haynes.
Josh Haynes.
So there you go. One of those Haynes boys, anyways.
Josh H.
Yeah.
Yes, that was another blast from the past. Yes, I remember both of those people.
Yes.
Way to go, Vince.
All right. All right. Who's next?
Well, I was waiting for you to do your sport so that I could jump on and do my sport. So I'm probably going to have a number of sports topics throughout this thing, but I want to talk about what I hate. I hate that refs have too much control over football and basketball, specifically the NFL and the NBA. Now, maybe I'm just noticing it this year more so than ever because the Packers suck and I need to blame it on something. So that's very, very possible. But I don't think so. I mean, the Packers were good last year, and I could point to so many times last year where the refs just sucked. But essentially, it comes down to in an NFL game, an NFL game will come down to a handful of plays, basically. Call it 8 or 10 plays. That's going to decide a game. Refs have too big of a hand in those games, just flat out. Thursday night football, there was Aaron Rodgers bombing it to Alan Lazard for 40 yards. into the end zone. Looked like pass interference to me. The refs did not call it. Pass interference would have put them at the 1 yard line. They're going to get a touchdown from there. A little later on in the game, there was a blatant hold on Quay Walker, the Packer linebacker, coming right up the middle. Blocker blatantly grabs him, twists him around. No flag thrown there either. And they ended up getting a screen pass that went for 40 yards and set up a touchdown there. Just these subjective calls, there's just no consistency in it. I mean, I think that's my biggest problem. There's just no consistency with these calls.
Now, like, I know in the NFL, there's some ability to challenge like rulings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you challenge like, oh, that should have been a penalty, or vice versa, that should not have been a penalty, or is it like limited to like things like, oh, was that actually a catch, or was he out of bounds, or that kind of stuff?
It's limited out of bounds and catch stuff. Penalties, maybe there's like a rare exception, a certain type of penalty, but no, penalties generally you cannot challenge. And you know what, John, don't get me started on the whole challenge system, because that'll be another hate. But essentially, no. I mean, your hands are tied, and even if you were allowed to challenge, you only have, 2 challenges the entire game. So that's a bunch of horse shit too.
Do you think, because some people, at least it's in the case of UFC, where like the refs are paid off, is it that sort of thing where like bullshit, or are you just like every ref has this gigantic ego and they're like, I'm going to make my presence felt?
Oh, a little from column A, a little from column B. Growing up, I would always hear the old timers say, the fucking mafia, they control the NFL. And you would just kind of brush it off when you're a young kid. But as I get older, fucking mafia, man, that's all I can say. I'm not
Like,
a
for real?
conspiracy theorist.
Are you for real?
I have no proof, Vince. I have no proof, but deep in my bones, I know.
But he knows what he saw.
Do guys show up? They're like, hey, maybe you didn't see that fucking, it would be a shame.
And usually one call isn't going to decide a game. Just one call by itself usually won't decide a game. I mean, there's got to be other stuff going on that ultimately decides the game. But if you know the world of Vegas, Vegas isn't winning every single bet. But over the long haul, Vegas has a certain percentage that they're hitting, and long haul, they're going to win. They're going to come out on top. And I think that's kind of the same way it works when it comes to reffing these games. But I mean, the NBA is worse. The NBA is worse. I mean, there's so many ticky-tack little fouls that you can call, and you can get somebody in foul trouble because you can only have 6 fouls throughout the entire game. So if you want the superstar to be on the bench, you just call a couple little ticky-tack fouls, and the superstar's got to go to the bench, and he's sitting out a lot more than he's usually sitting out. I mean, there's flopping, there's 50-50 blocking charge calls. It's all subjective, and there's no consistency. I mean, the consistency is the biggest problem. But actually, Chris Paul, he's a Hall of Fame. Well, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, NBA point guard. I had to look it up to see. So it says, actually, I think this is a little bit better than it used to be, but it says, Google says the first thing, in the last 13 playoff games of Paul's career, where Scott Foster has been the official, his teams have not done well, having a 1-12 record in those games. This was a topic that came up, like this came to the forefront 2 years ago when the Suns were making a deep playoff run, how this one particular NBA ref, when he's reffing Chris Paul's team sucks shit. I don't know. I haven't seen video breakdown of how this stuff works, but there's no coincidences here. Fucking mafia, man.
Do you think technology can help? Like, at least in something like baseball, you can see they have the cameras and stuff. You can see exactly where the pitch went over the home plate, and you like see the umpire just like get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? but like it doesn't matter because like what they say is the call, unless that's changed by now. But
I think there is the ability to, yes, bring consistency to it by having multiple opinions. Because if you look at a football field, there's 4 or 5 refs. They don't have every angle on every single play. And even if they're doing their best, they're not going to be able to get every single call right. But yes, the video technology is out there now. And yes, we can get every single call right. And sometimes with the challenges, these challenges can take 5 to 10 minutes. And it's pretty ridiculous. We can do this stuff a lot faster. But yes, there's probably no system that's going to be perfect. But can they do better? Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you mentioned the NBA. That's interesting because we're going to travel back through time again, and we'll talk about Matt's upbringing.
Should title this one "Nostalgia" or something.
Matt, you're a washed-up basketball player. You played in...
What do you mean washed up? You haven't seen me recently,
Matt. You're something of a has-been.
But I'm saying, you did play in high school, correct? In basketball. Did you
not every year, but yes.
Okay, but did you deal with some ref shenanigans, even at that base level?
No. I think I disagreed on a couple of calls, but no, I didn't. I mean, that's the bottom line.
No, you said you disagree. Did you like get up in the ref's face? Because you were
no, man.
Because you're a tall motherfucker. How tall are you, Matt?
6'4".
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're like 6'2", right?
6'5". No, I'm 6'4". Actually, for most of my life, I thought I was 6'3", and then I went to the doctor a number of years ago, and this woman, she was really short, but she put me, you're doing a physical, and she put me up there, and she said I was 6'5", and I did a double take. And what?
Did a spit take?
Yes, I spit my thing of pee all over her.
That was gonna happen anyways, but
so after I heard I was 6'5", I actually had to measure myself for real, and I was 6'4". But yeah, I've been 6'4" the whole time.
Dang.
Was it? But did you do it being measured by your wife, who is also quite opposite on the height spectrum from you?
No, actually, my kids. Well, this was
or even
so they were 3. So
no, but one of them stood on the other one's shoulder. Oh,
wearing a trench coat.
Anyway, what was the main question? Oh, yeah. I disagreed with some calls, but no. You just live with it. It's high school basketball.
Yeah, but that's what fucking LeBron is doing. He's like, oh, I guess I got to live with it. You might have been right, Matt. They might have been maybe like Fat Tony's little niece attended Nilsville, and she's like, I want Nilsville to lose. You know what I mean? So they paid the refs off. They're like, that Hagen boy. He doesn't look the other way, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Serve them pizza for lunch next Tuesday too.
I would like to see who's taking bets on Neilsville high school basketball games. I want to talk to that guy.
Is that all? Is that everything we've ever wanted to express?
Yes, that's it.
Ever?
That's all I want to say on that. I can just sum it up.
I have an indifferent left, if that's what you're asking.
I think we did this last episode too. We wanted to get done, and John says, "Oh, I got something else to say." But
yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah. Well,
I
want to follow the format of this show.
All
right. So my indifferent is the MCU, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the lay person.
John, before you go, you stole this one from me. This was on my short list. I was going to do this within the next month. But go on.
I'm glad I did it now.
And Matt,
were you going to also do it as an Were
Well,
you
is that
also
the-
going to do it as an indifferent?
Matt stole it from me. I was going to do MCU as an.
Oh, this is good. We're all indifferent. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I've only seen a handful of them, and I will admit when I've watched them, like I've enjoyed all the ones I've seen. Like they're fun watches. You know, they're enjoyable. But like I just how they're everywhere and like how that's all that money gets spent on anymore. Like, you know, you can't convince us unless you're like Christopher Nolan or something. You can't really convince the studio to let you do something that's not part of a franchise like this. And like, you know, where I work, we have like a Slack, and there's a room where, you know, we talk. It's like nerd books, shows, and movies, or something like that. It's called. And just the way people talk about these things, it's like they feel obligated to just keep watching every single one that comes out, whether they want to or not. Or like a new show will come out and they'll start watching it and like, oh yeah, I don't really like it so far, but you know, if I don't watch it, I'm not gonna get references and something else later. And like, I don't know, like it just, to me, it's kind of depressing that people are watching things out of obligation just to know what's going on rather than like they actually enjoy the thing that they're watching or think that it's a well-made thing. But like, on the other hand, like, you know, on the chance that I happen to catch one, I've enjoyed it, so I'm not like trying to hate on it or anything, because like, you know, it's not like I think they're trash or anything, but it just has seemed to become all that can exist.
Mm-hmm. I think you summed a lot of things up very, very well right there. Yeah, I mean, I've never thought of that. I've never used that word before. Obligate. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. To me, I've kind of heard the argument, and I think it's true. Like everybody has a 75-inch TV in their home now, and that sort of thing. That's so accessible, and HD TV changed the game completely. So people, I would imagine a lot of people just are not going to movie theaters anymore. So when you do go to the movie theater, you're going there for the spectacle, the gigantic $300 million, whatever the budget is for these movies. So you're going for the raw spectacle of the thing. And I think that's why you're getting these gigantic highs on the box office, but you're also getting some really low lows. Some things are really underperforming. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I mean, there's going to be a good test of that theory coming up with Avatar. I mean, you got the Avatar sequels coming up. I mean, we'll see how big Avatar is going to be. But yes, I've seen a handful of them. You know, I liked Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw the first Avengers. I'm drawing blanks. But there's TV shows and stuff now too. I don't really have any interest. And you know, I've mentioned my kids a few times, like when they get to a certain age, I'm probably going to see some of these. I'll probably see them with them. You know, I heard Endgame is great, you know, and so I'm going to want to eventually see that sort of thing. But yeah, overall, I just really don't have any interest.
And it looks, I mean, I guess it's kind of like how you view dancing, where it's like, it looks fun to see people dance, you know, where it's like, I kind of wish I could get into those movies. And I watched Infinity War, and I thought that was very good. They just ruined it with Endgame. Matt, I feel like I know you a little bit in terms of your movie tastes. I would suggest watching Infinity War and then never watching Endgame, because
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, indifference. Totally. And what does that mean now that we're all indifferent to one thing? This is the porridge that's just right. Our indifference.
Podcast is done. 2 episodes.
All right,
This.
subscribe, comment. This was A Few Goldilock Bears with Vincent Cloud.
I'm Matt Hagen.
And I'm John Nemitz.